McElroy here. Quick little demo recording from today's pattern project and compiling your style guide for submission. Remember that I would like you to resubmit your finish identity guide sheet once you make any final little tweaks for your logo so that I can print them and display them on the wall. I want to do a fresh copy of each of your logos and print them out and display them inside the lab. So just make sure you give me another version, resubmit into the identity project submission as we start building our assets now. Remember, on Tuesday we're moving over to Photoshop, so this is the last of Illustrator. So today was pretty much an open lab to tie up any loose ends as it relates to our logo concepts for our nonprofit, because we're going to use those in Photoshop next class to start compiling some raster-based or advertising solutions for our nonprofit. So I'm going to go ahead, I copied and pasted my basic logo formats over here to recompile my style guide. So I'm going to go ahead and do Shift Option and scale this down a little bit and move that over. And remember, these are just space holders for some of the things we're going to create in our pages here. This is the table of contents, so we don't need to make any adjustments there. So I'm going to bring in my primary logo over here to the main logo area. And remember, delete the boxes so we just have the logo. So let's do that. I'm going to delete it and make this a little bit smaller. Just a little bit smaller. Now, remember from class, we went over to our transform and checked the scale, stroke, and effects to make sure that any lines that we created in our logo, they are scaled proportionately to the size. So it'll keep the line thickness in proportion to the size of our logo. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do Shift Option and drag my next copy over. And then I'm going to make this one black and white. So I'm going to get rid of my little color shapes here. And then I'll make these black stroke, no fill. And let's make sure they're all, what is the thickness of that? 0.58. So I can actually highlight that and use my eyedropper and sample the stroke, and it will make it the same size. All right, so there we go. And then I do have my variation, which is my stacked. So I'm going to copy that, delete that box space holder, that box space holder, that box space holder. And I'm just going to paste my logo in here. And I'm going to drop it in there. I'm going to move this up a little bit. This is just a template, so I'm just going to move that up a little bit to give me a little room. And then I'm going to do Shift Option and make a copy of it. And then I can use my direct select, and I'm just going to hit delete twice to get rid of that. And let's zoom in a little bit. Delete that. Delete that. And then I'm going to select these. Oh, let's do direct select so I make sure that I only get the waves because it's grouped. I can actually use my eyedropper and sample that stroke. And I'll make it smaller. And here's my color palette. So let's copy that. And we're going to go into our color palette page and paste it over here. And I'm going to hold down Shift to make it a little bit bigger. And here is my color palette. And then over here, remember, this is our font overview, which is just a couple of sentences stating why you selected the font that you did. So I'm going to do this font was selected as a modern, clean. I'm going to make this smaller. Let's make this like 14 to 18 is a good size. This font was selected as a modern, clean, flexible typeface for use in all applications, bold and graphic and easy to read. I'm going to make my leading a little bit less so that I have a basic little description for my font. And then remember the font family is Avenir, regular, bold, italic, and my secondary font was Times New Roman. Regular, bold, italic. And then my font application is Avenir, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z, and then all lowercase, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. And I'm going to move this little thing up. I'm going to move this up. And that will give me room to move that up. And then I need to do Times New Roman. And then I'm going to make this Times New Roman. And I like to make the all caps bold. Oh, I have to add bold italic to this. So now let's move this up just a little bit. Move this up just a little bit. Move this up just a little bit. And that will give us room for this. So there we go. And then our illustrations are the elements of our symbol. So I'm going to bring over my symbol and I'm going to ungroup it so I can bring just my water and move it over there, and just my mountains and move it down there. Oh, and then I can do just my clock tower. Just kind of move that up there. So now I have all my pieces. This will be tackled when we enter Photoshop on Tuesday. This will be about week 7 or so when we start using Photoshop to create a very basic web banner and advertisement, and then design application. The first box will be our pattern. So here's what we did in class this week. We created from our symbol, we drew a little box around it, right? We filled that box in white and we made the stroke none. Oh, made the stroke none. We did object, arrange, send to back. And so let's zoom in a little bit. Now we made the box just frame in the artwork from our symbol a little bit. So we just pinched that in a little bit. We selected both things and we dragged it over and dropped it in our swatch library. The reason we did that was because now it will allow us to select this box. I'm gonna make the box filled with our pattern. And so now we have our logo as a little pattern. We can make this box a little bit bigger. So let's just drop that in there. And sometimes it's nice to put a stroke around it just to kind of frame it in so you can see it as a pattern. So we have the last element from our style guide to be completed before we tackle Photoshop on Tuesday are your two separate icons for in here. And remember, those were like the additional things we picked. So for me, it was the flower we drew in class, last class, and I had created, I had selected a little piece of like a deer icon. So I was going to do the flower and the deer. So these are two additional illustrations that are in your style of drawing, just like we did for our logo mark, as elements that we can use as we brand our elements in our other programs. And that'll be it for your style guide. These additional elements will be created inside of Photoshop and InDesign to finish off our brand style guide. So I'll go ahead and save that. And this is what we would like to have by Sunday at midnight. Most of you, I believe almost all of you, completed your style guide inside of class. So it was nice to have an open lab time just to play around in Illustrator, ask questions, share with friends, and that sort of thing. So please make sure you submit your any tweaks to your logo that you use for your style guide and give me the identity page back. And then we will kind of take it from there. See you guys Tuesday. Stay dry, stay safe. I do think we're going to get some rain and wind here later today into tomorrow.